Nope. Ah, good. How are you? Ladies, gentlemen, and gentlemen, ladies, gentlemen, and gentlemen. If you can find a seat, please do. And if you can't, standing room only. Help me out here. Come over here. Geez, 12 o'clock, dude. I'm ready. Help me out. There's something strange in the neighborhood. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. What? No. Ghostbusters. One more time. There's something weird, and it don't look good. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. All right. Give yourselves a hand. So the day was August 13th, 1984. The U.S. president was Ronald Reagan. And Wesley Paul Grose started his first day with the Los Angeles County Auditor Controller's Office. The average gas price was $1.13 a gallon, meaning that it took him $18.08 to fill his 16-gallon 1965 Ford Mustang. Ouch, right? And oh yeah, that iconic song Ghostbusters, written by Ray Parker Jr., was the #1 on the Billboard Top 100. The world was calling for Ghostbusters, and Forensic Documents was calling for Wes Grose. Yeah. Hi there, everyone. My name is Micah Anazi. It's my pleasure to welcome and thank you for honoring Wes by being here in person and also live streaming. No, I didn't draw the short end of the stick. It is my pleasure to be here. I'm kidding. So many of us, when we come to a retirement event such as this, or when someone is being honored, some people may not know the honoree, or they may know them in varying capacities. So my goal today is that, and it is also my hope, that by the end of this event, we'll all learn a little bit more about Wes Grose, both personally and professionally. So you will watch him receive a few awards for his efforts here at the Crime Lab. You will hear from 4 people who've worked with him, know him, and love him. I'll let you guess who those people are and in what order. It can also be mutually exclusive, but we'll get to that later. We'll then hear from the honoree himself, right? And so just like Wes has been counting down his days leading up to this point, we will also have our own countdown of sorts. So in between some speakers, I'll say a few facts and figures and things, little tidbits that we can remember Wes by. How's that sound? Good. All right, so now to present awards to Wes, we will have our Technology and Support Division Chief, Brian Yanagi, and Commander Chris Kovac to present 4 awards for Mr. Grose. Give him a hand.
Amazing, I didn't know you could sing so good. That's even more amazing.
That was on cue. I meant to do that.
So, let me just take this time to congratulate Wes. It's been amazing working with him. He's absolutely one of the most dedicated persons I know on the department. And even in the field, I see that everyone in Scientific Services Bureau, and I believe most of you at SSB have engaged in your life to obtain the education and training to do what you guys love. So I appreciate that dedication and that tenacity, and I just applaud. I'm just so amazed at what SSB, the personnel SSB has, and what you guys produce every day. But the 4 awards, I believe I do the Distinguished Service Award. So the Distinguished Service Award is awarded to Wes for 27 years of distinguished service to the residents of LA County. It says, throughout your career, you have consistently performed outstanding work, which reflects admirably to the department and you as an individual. The men and women of the LA County Sheriff's Department join me in congratulating you on this momentous occasion and extend sincere best wishes for the continued success and happiness. It's signed by our sheriff, Alex Villanueva, and it comes with this nifty necklace.
Wes, why don't you stand up here? That would have been more of an awkward
This nifty necklace that I recommend you wear out shopping and things of that nature. So thank you and congratulations.
Good. I think he's got a picture here.
Kovac, you want to get in there?
Come on. You can even hold this up here. You can congratulate.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
There's other
Wes, you
fours.
might as well just stand up.
Don't go away. But wait, there's more. This apparently. Very nice artwork from the Board of Supervisors. Basically, it's signed by all the members of the Board of Supervisors, whereas Wes Grose has been a dedicated Los Angeles County employee since August 13, 1984, and a proud member of the Sheriff's Department since July 94. So, congratulations, Board of
Thank you.
Supervisors. All right. Again, but wait, there's more. Let's see what we got here. We better do this.
Doing the right order.
In the right order here. United States Senate. From Diane Feinstein. It gives me great pleasure to join your family, friends, and colleagues in congratulating you upon your retirement. Diane Feinstein. And last but not least, Office of the Governor, Gavin Newsom. Pleased to congratulate you as you retire from the LA County Sheriff's Department. 37 years of exemplary service.
All the paperwork. Thank you so much.
Well, when we do a picture with you holding all your awards at one time, Wes?
Man, I'm good.
One right here?
Yes, sir. Yes. Make it fun.
Does he have four hands?
That's what we're here for. I'm a grandpa. You have to have
Where's that letter? There we go.
Whose idea was that? Was that in the script, Mike?
It was in the script. Yeah.
Sure was.
All right. Well, thank you, Wes.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoy your retirement.
I plan on it. That's the goal, you know? I'm sitting back down here, right? Can you top that a little at this point? Or is that-
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
All right, one more time for our Chief and Commander. So, like any good countdown, we're going to start at number 6. So, can anyone guess the significance of the number 6 to Wes? 6 kids. That's right. What? We're missing 1. 5 out of 6. So just the basketball team is here. So 6 kids, but 6 is also the number of minutes within which Wes will let you know that he has 6 kids. So it goes something like this. My name is Wesley Grose. I have 6 kids. Or, yes, I am the crime lab director. Did you know the words crime lab consists of 8 letters? And those are 2 less than the number of kids I have. Two more than the number of kids I have, yeah. Yeah. So, and that is because he's really proud of you guys. He doesn't let any time go by without talking about you guys. We've been through a ton. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. Yep. The first speaker is none other than our previous SSB, Scientific Services Bureau Captain, Dave Walters. He was here from April, he will tell you the exact dates, but he's April 2008 to July 2014. He retired as the personnel commander. Please join me in welcoming Dave Walters.
I got a question though. How is it I've been retired 3 years and I drew the short stick rather? What the hell? Make me drive out here. So, I love you too.
Now it's all better.
Yeah, now I feel all better now. But I am retired. I am not a county volunteer, vendor, or anything, so the worst you can do to me is throw me out and ward advise me regarding trespassing. But no. Wes. So I'm going to start out with, this is actually the last narrative from the last performance evaluation I wrote for you, which was about 2 weeks after, it was in August 2014, about 2 weeks after I transferred from the crime lab. Longest assignment of my career, I love you all, was really at the highlight. So this is what the, and tell me if I'm lying, this is just a little excerpt.
Dave Walters doesn't lie.
The ordering of gases throughout SSB has been a difficult task for many years due to the fact there were contracts set up for each facility, and from an operations standpoint, there was no easy way to determine the actual uses of gases. Ergo, management of the product was extremely difficult. There is now a centralized purchase order on file for gases, along with a spreadsheet that shows usage throughout the Bureau. This allows the crime lab, for the first time, to track the rate of usage for each type of gas, as well as have a snapshot each month of our overall reserves that are in place at each facility. So I guess that was your value, gas. Right? Am I lying?
No, that's absolutely.
Okay. Some things about Wes. I'm actually the second Dave Walters that Wes worked with. I'm sure he's told many of you. I know he has over the years. He worked with my father, who passed away Christmas morning. And at the time, my dad was a lieutenant with the Organized Crime Intel Unit and the captain of fraud division at the LA County District Attorney's Office Bureau of Investigation. So Wes had to deal with 2 Dave Walters. So when I got to the crime lab, Wes was the operations lieutenant. I was an operations sergeant and operations lieutenant at 2 large complex units. And it is one of the most challenging jobs you're going to have. And one of the things that makes it challenging is that unless you've worked a job like that, people really don't understand the job you have. Some have been known to say, oh, all they are party planners, I do believe. I'm retired. I won't say the names, but I don't, you know me, I remember. But I'll keep it. But no, this is the thing. They do plan parties, as you can see Micah and stuff. But this is the thing about operations. You can't write a description for what they do because all they're doing is putting out fires, dealing with drama, dealing with personnel issues, and dealing with management sometimes above you that has no idea what the hell they're doing or you're doing. It's a very challenging job. And Wes had the perfect demeanor for it. I mean, look at that infectious smile. And I had the honor, in fact, we were kind of talking about it just at the racetrack. Certain employee here, and some of the drama behind it, where something came up and Wes got really angry. And the way I put it was, okay, the words that came out of that man's mouth, this is Wes, well, okay, for me it was maybe PG rated, but for him it was like X rated. He was really upset because it's so rare. And that is such a quality to have working operations. And for 5 years I worked operations with Wes. And then my partner, my good friend, Dean, we really were partners. And around May 2013, Dean and I really mentoring, learning new things, making people get outside their comfort zone is very important. So we asked Wes to get out of his comfort zone and do something that he'd never done before. And that's to work the forensic chemistry group and work out of Downey. So he probably said more of that PG-rated, X-rated stuff about Dave Walters and Dean Gialamas, because on top of really taking him out of his comfort zone, the drive really sucked for him, being he lives in the San Fernando Valley. But this is the thing with Wes. This is what you saw, like a poker face. And when he got to Downey, he just there's all sorts of challenges. I mean, number one, the fact that the Downey building's still there, and it was like 20 years past due when I was here. That's one of them. And literally, he's got floors buckling, and we come to find out there's a steam leak there. So now you got asbestos abatement and all these different things going on. They have an enormous controlled substances backlog. Yeah, I get it. The element, kind of the world we're in today, hearing that you have a 2,000 case backlog of drug cases and stuff probably isn't the case now, but it was a huge issue back then. My little gas remark there, that was the Air Liquide contract. Helium, big deal. Worldwide helium shortages. And let's face it, the county were total flakes in their timing this. I'm paying the bills. So we weren't getting any love from Air Liquide. And no gas for you. So this is the thing, because I was told to keep it to 5 minutes, but this is the thing. What I found in working the crime lab for me, it was paradise. It was literally that paradise island. But what do you get in paradise? What does paradise get? Those islands. That occasional hurricane. And Scientific Services Bureau was no difference. And in 5 years working with them operations and with Downey, they came up. So, and this man, I mean, you even had I wasn't going to say it, but you even had a health scare going on at that time a bit. And yet you never changed. You never changed. And as I said, after I did my gas talk about you, I said, Mr. Grose lights up a room merely by walking into it, and he has a tremendous amount of credibility in the forensic science community as a talented collaborator. Additionally, there are few people I know of who can truly excite and motivate regardless of the situation at hand. This is an example why I see him as one of my primary inspirations for staying positive even in the most stressful of times. Wes, I appreciate all that you've done for me these past 6 years, and I offer my sincerest thanks. And even with the things I'm dealing with now, you're just always an inspiration, so thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
I don't know why he hugged him. I heard gas talks and lights up a room.
You can also talk about gas and...
So, our countdown goes to 5. Can anyone tell me what the significance of 5 is to Wes Grose? 5. 5. No, 5 siblings. 5 siblings. Wes has 5 siblings. 1 brother sitting right there, and 4 sisters. This is Linda? No, where? Linda, right there. Who are wife! Oh my gosh! There are so many of them. There are so many. So 5. And I will give you one more now. So 4.
There's another sister there.
Oh, is there? Oh, hello, sisters.
Surprise from Seattle.
Surprise! Oh, a surprise from Seattle, even. Wow. Welcome. Give her a hand. So I'll give you 4 as well. So 4. Anyone guess on 4? No. 4 is the number of positions that Wes has held here with the crime lab. So he's been a forensic document examiner. He's been a supervising criminalist, an assistant director, and now the director. So 4. His wife also tells me that he is a gardener on the weekends and does his own yard maintenance. Wes wears ties a lot, right? Everywhere he goes, he wears a tie. So casual Friday, Wes comes in a tie. Weekend retirement event, he comes in a tie. It took years for me to imagine Wes on the weekends without a tie. I mean, mowing his lawn with the tie, under the car with a tie. Wes Grose, AKA Tie Magnet. Our second speaker is none other than Dean Gialamis. He was our lab director from 2010 to 2014. He subsequently left as our division director in 2019. Please help me welcome Dean Gialamis.
I'm going to start with a hug, too.
Thank you, Micah. I'm really honored to be here. It's great to see so many, sheriff and LAPD family members. Great to see so many family members from Wes, your family, your beautiful family here today. This is a very interesting, those of you that know me, I do a lot of public speaking, and today is something very unique that I really wanted to share with you. Because as you can tell, prior to me being in executive management, I used to be 6'2", with dark hair. But now, see, all of you in the front are having trouble seeing me because I'm vertically challenged. But everybody behind me can see over me because I'm so short. So, I really want to say, Wes, congratulations, first off, on your retirement. This is a really huge milestone in anyone's life and career. And I want to start a little bit about Wes's personal life that I know about. For those of you that know, Wes is a very, very devoted individual at home, both to his family, his children, to his Christian faith. And it's something I've always admired about Wes, is that work-life balance. Many of you know that that is one of the biggest issues that people have in today's world, and Wes, I would say that you did very well in being able to achieve that. So my hat's off to you and my compliments to you in making that happen. Yeah, give him a round of applause for that, right? Wes is a very handy person. I did get to hear a lot about his adventures, both at home and in Lake Tahoe and other places, being able to do work around the house and fix things up. And of course, being a single breadwinner, raising 6 kids and a family is not an easy thing to do in today's world. And I've always admired what his family's been able to do in order to make that happen and be a reality for them. And homeschooling as well, because that was a very significant piece of his life. And again, just something that is just so admirable to see someone be able to balance that professional world. I first met Wes as a document examiner. I got to see Wes in all his different various positions coming up. For those that remember my little tenure here, I started in trace evidence, and I worked for a supervisor named Lynn Harold. And one of my first experiences with the question document section was working with Wes and with Barbara Torres and with Mel. Oh, no, wait, that's Art, sorry. Mel Kavanaugh. For those that knew Mel, I literally thought that was Mel Kavanaugh when I walked in the room. But I had this case where I had a woman who had fortunately been murdered. And there was a piece of evidence that was critical to obtain, and I needed to be able to use a tool that they had in question documents. And it was Short story is, it was a woman who was murdered. She was put and stuffed into a box, and then this box was set on a hillside, and the perpetrator tried to set the hillside on fire, failed, so we recovered the box with human remains in it. It had a computer box, and that computer had a serial number, which I was hoping would match the serial number of the computer that was in the suspect's home. So I needed to use infrared light to be able to get to the label to see what the actual serial number was. And Wes and Barbara helped me out with that. We had a little battle with my supervisor at the time, because Lynn, for those of you who've been around for a while, we used Corel as our word processor in the Sheriff's Department. We did not use Word, so we were not allowed to use images in our reports back then. And so my battle was, could I put an image in a report? It was a big quality assurance issue here, but Wes and Barbara and Mel came to my rescue and supported me in that moving forward. Tied to the end of the story, yes, the serial number did match the serial number to the computer at home for the suspect. Since then, Wes has moved on in his career, obviously. He's done very well. He was a successful supervisor and a successful assistant lab director, and then ultimately followed me into that position. Wes, I have 3 messages from you from some prior executives to share with you. First off, a prior chief from TSD, John Radliff. I had lunch with him a couple of weeks ago, and he wanted me to give you his best wishes. I actually had lunch with John Scott not that long ago. John Scott was the interim sheriff at the time who promoted Wes to his current position, and he was happy to hear of your retirement and wish you well. And I also have the same message from Jim McDonald, prior sheriff as well. So as you can tell from just those 3 individuals, me sharing that, they wanted me to specifically make sure that Wes knew that. I'm going to keep it very brief. Wes has already had a traumatic career working with 2 Walters in his lifetime. You've already listened to me go on long enough, and they say to be a good speaker, you need to be sincere, you need to be short, and you need to be seated. So I'm going to be seated and wish you well. Wes, congratulations.
Did he say you need to be short? I'm just saying. You know, one thing I did miss in introducing Dean, and I need to say it, is that he is currently the general manager of the executive offices at Internal Services Division. So I need to give him his respect. That's what he's doing right now. Our countdown goes to what? 3. Can anyone guess? Dean almost spoiled it for us. So, Wes is the 3rd director that we have had over the crime lab. So the first was Barry A.J. Fisher. The second was none other than Dean Gialamas. And the 3rd is, of course, Wes Grose. I will give you 2 as well. Can anyone guess what 2 is significant for? We're learning a lot about Wes today. Yes, that was easy. Oh, little Wesley and Emma are up here playing with balloons, making sounds. Yep. So Wes talks about them just as much as he talks about his kids. And he's very much looking forward to spending more time with them in retirement. So thank you, Wes. Uh-oh, I'll get it for you. Oh, she's got it. Okay, so our 3rd speaker is our current, LAPD's current lab director over the Forensic Science Division. Please help me welcome Christina Takeshita. Where is she?
Okay, I want Micah hosting everything. I have a manager's meeting tomorrow, if you can stop by, host. So at first I thought it would be weird that Wes is behind me, but kind of happy that he is, because I'm gonna really try not to cry, so I'm not gonna look at you. All right. First and foremost, Wes is my friend. Yes, we work together as lab directors of 2 agencies in 1 building, but that's secondary. Wes is my good friend. And it doesn't hurt that he's a USC fan. I'm grateful that I had an opportunity to work with Wes because I've learned a lot from him. We worked well together because Wes is just so easy to talk to. Some people believe there's a rivalry between the two agencies, but for Wes and I, that was never the case. For Wes, there was never any ego, no competition, just a strong effort to work together to make our labs a better place, and I really appreciated that. I was looking at the sheriff's core values and mission statement. Yes, I did that. But it was the department's creed that caught my attention, and it says, "My goals are simple. I will always be painfully honest, work as hard as I can, and hopefully make a difference in people's lives." And Wes exemplifies those words. He is honest. He was always open with me and shared his opinions in the most respectful way. Discussions with him were easy, constructive, and our goals were aligned. Let's work together to do the very best for our labs, our staff, and the communities that we serve. He works hard. He worked to build a relationship between our agencies. He had really creative ways of building that relationship. One was to start a water balloon fight with me during a summer event. And he worked really hard at beating me at cornhole. And you guys, he did. He's really good at cornhole. It's weird, who knew? Okay, back to the creed. He's honest, he works hard, and finally, he makes a difference in people's lives. He made a difference in my life with his guidance, mentorship, and friendship. I've often told my boys that, my children, adult children, that people come into your life to teach you how to be and how not to be. Wes came into my life to teach me how to be. He's an example of a true leader, one who is dedicated, kind, intelligent, and cares about the people he works with every day. Best wishes to you in your retirement, Wes. You will be missed immensely, and I'll miss you stopping by my office to share a smile and make me laugh. You will always be my mentor, but most importantly, you will always be my dear friend.
I was going to try to lean in for a hug myself. That was great.
When you come to the manager's meeting, post it.
She says when I come to the manager's meeting to host it. So I'm going to give you guys a bonus. We're going to skip the next countdown and save it. There's a woman in this room who has known Wes for almost as long as his wife. Okay, maybe not, but reasonably close. Please help me welcome one of the first people that Wes has worked with on this department and a lifelong friend, someone who was also a transition buddy for me in operations. Give her a hand, Barbara Torres.
I feel like Mike is a little bit like Superman today. Not just today, every day. That you've turned the earth backwards and we've gone back in time, because I do remember that very first day, August 13th, 1984, when this guy walked into the auditor's controller's office, and I was the veteran of a year and a half, and Wes was talking with me within the first couple of days, sharing that he had no intention of really staying at that position. This was really just sort of a means to an end for that time, and he really had no intention of staying with the county or even staying in LA County. That he had just, he and Julie had been living in Washington, D.C., and they loved it there. And he had the thought that that would be where you would return to. Do you remember that? And having already gone through 2 partners in a year and a half, I'm thinking, okay, time to change the deodorant. This one's out the door, and he's only been here for a week. And Wes did stay a little bit longer than that, but then he was off to the district attorney's office, and I thought, okay, great, you know, it was a better position, and he was moving on up from the auditors. And I also, a few years later, came over here to the sheriff's department. I get a phone call from Wes, and he says, Mel Kavanaugh called me. And it's like, really? Mel Kavanaugh was the last deputy in the question document section at here at SSB. And he said, do you know what he wants? I don't know. What could he be calling? Mel was very secretive. And, yeah, anybody who knows Mel, this doesn't sound surprising. And I said, do you think he's about the vacancy that's coming up? I don't know. And it was. Mel took Wes out to lunch, and he persuaded him to leave the district attorney's office and come to the sheriff's department. So I found myself working with Wes again, and we worked together until we moved from Beverly to Downey. While we were at Beverly, the lab, or the little section we worked in, was right across the hall from where Barry Fisher's office was. And one day Barry had come in, and I don't even know how this came up in conversation, but Wes took it upon himself to share aspirations with Barry that he was going to have Barry's job. He was going to wait till he retired, of course, but he planned on being the director of the crime lab. And that was a chuckle, you know, that here this document examiner would aspire to be director of the crime lab, but dream big, boy, that's good. Good on you. And Wes, once we got to Downey, he came and took the ops position, and it was just Mel and I for a while there at the working in question documents. Then Wes got a position supervising, and somewhere along that track, I came in and started working with Harley Segarra, who is the assistant director in operations, and I had the opportunity to work with him for a year and a half. He retired, and I found Wes in Harley's seat. So this was the 3rd time I had worked with Wes after bidding him goodbye, fond adieu, and there he was on his path forward. And we had another nice year and a half working together in operations. Then Wes moved over here, we came here, and he ended up becoming our assistant director over question documents. So again, I was working with Wes. I was still waiting for that, not working at LA County, that he was going to be leaving, that I have no plans to stay here. Right. And we find ourselves here in retirement. He is no longer working for LA County. He is retired from LA County, but it did in fact come true. After 38 years, you are no longer working for LA County.
You know, and I'll throw in the last piece of that, because actually the other part of it came true too. He is the crime lab director.
Yeah.
After all. So our count goes to 1. All right, let me dial it down. So our next speaker is the 1 in our countdown. As in the one and only love of Wes's life, Julie Grose, and they just celebrated their 39th wedding anniversary just last summer. Give them a hand. We will hear from Julie next. Maybe she'll share how hard it was.
Hello, everybody. I have my handy dandy footnotes here, so that's how I plan to make it through this speech is with a little reading, if you'll forgive me for that part. This is truly such a special and momentous day in Wes's life, and consequently in my life too. Your being here to celebrate and mark this day with us just means the world. Thank you, everybody. I am so proud of Wes's years of service and diligence. The days have flown by from the day we first met till this day standing here. At 16 years old, I was friends with a fun, delightful brother and sister named Bradley and Nanette Grose. Later, I learned they had an older brother, Wes. We were all up in the mountains at a church winter camp, and Nan and Brad said, "Hey, that guy over there, that's our brother." I looked over, and I see this guy. He was not happy and smiling like the fun brother-sister I knew. He looked a bit mad, and it turns out an unruly camper had been altogether obnoxious, playing music all night and breaking every possible rule at the camp, and Wes was just fed up. Later, we became friends, and I learned how cheerful, unflappable, patient, and forbearing Wes usually always is. But my first glimpse was different. It's still funny years later. It's a little lesson that first impressions are not always the correct impressions. Early on in knowing Wes, forensic science was just a twinkle in his scholastic eye. Wes was busy taking biology and chemistry classes, plowing through at Cal State University, Northridge, and lending me a hand studying as I was a younger biology major. Friendship grew, and we married shortly after his CSUN graduation. Friendship grew between both of our families, and it was such a special time with all my parents and siblings, his parents, and so forth. We married, and Wes was on a solid trajectory towards a career in forensic science. Our honeymoon was getting from point A here to point B, which was Washington, D.C., for him to enter the master's degree program at George Washington University and pursue 2 internships as well, one with the Secret Service and one with the Northern Virginia Crime Lab. We gathered up a few wedding presents and made the long drive, stopping in spots across the country to visit grandparents and family along the way. Our hearts were soaring. We had no jobs, no place to live, no furniture, but we had a goal, and an adventure had waited. We soon settled into a tiny efficiency unit 1/4 mile from the White House. Wes took classes and worked running patents for the law firm Finnegan, Henderson, Faribault, Dunner, and Garrett. I worked as an administrative assistant to the Dean of Urban and Regional Plannings at George Washington University. We both enjoyed campus life and exploring the capital city for the first time in our lives. We explored every square inch, every opportunity we got, and loved it there. It was all so very different from our growing up in Los Angeles days. A lot has transitioned between those days and now, so I won't continue on this walk down memory lane. I won't continue further. However, I hoped you would enjoy a peek at some early beginnings. We pursued a goal, unsure of how things would turn out, and learned and experienced so much in the process. As a word of encouragement to all of us here, because today is important on so many levels, I hope and pray each of us here today will continue to follow our heart's desires. In work and career, as well as in personal life, family, friends, neighbors, volunteer work, faith, each of us here doing our part to help cheer others around us. And this, in turn, makes the world a better place. I know Wes will continue to pursue many things of such value, and his next chapter will be time well spent. Some of our clan here today are involved in making the great city of Los Angeles a place of the heart and not just a metropolis. I would like to acknowledge the work of Wes's brother, Bradley, and his wife, Susie. They do a volunteer organization, Santa Clarita Grocery, and they feed literally hundreds of families, all nonprofit, every week. I would also, so Bradley and Susie here. Our dear friend and part of our family, Marge Link, has served decades as the chaplain up at Henry Mayo Hospital in Valencia. Her pager going off all hours of the night. And we've been able to hear the stories and see her in action and break bread with her at our family table. The work of my brother Gene and his wife Amy serving in a pastorship up in Agua Dulce, not only a house of faith, but community services, prison inmate services, and all manner of help to people in need in that region. Wes's sister Linda is here. She and her husband Buddy are on staff at Saddleback Church in Orange County, and all manner of purpose-driven worldwide services, international aid, volunteering, and to this minute, working in helping people in the Ukraine. The work of our pastors, Tim and Deborah Clark, who are sitting right here, serving in the central San Fernando Valley, House of Faith, services to the community, to the schools, weekly food bank, support, celebrations for the neighborhood kids that live in apartments, holidays, all kinds of things they do. Though today is about Wes's retirement, these others of ours here have meant so much to us. Pardon my emotion. These people I've just mentioned and others work outside of the crime lab, and we get to work with them. I hope you have a chance to greet them and thank them as well for what they do for our city and community. Thank all of them. We have family here today. This is who we break bread with. Our children, our grandchildren, siblings, aunts and uncles. Some have come from as far as South Dakota. My dear mother, Peggy. Wes's parents are watching online from Washington, D.C. with his sister Nan. And my father's watching from heaven. When I talked about early beginnings, it was some of these people who launched us. Aunt Shirley, who's here, over right here, and Uncle Jerry, Wes's mother, Phyllis. They cooked a wedding rehearsal dinner for over 60 people back in when we mentioned first getting married, right when Wes graduated from college. And here Aunt Shirley, the same week she cooked this rehearsal dinner, she had to repair my wedding dress with her special magic because I badly burnt the front of it with an iron. So, my mother and her friends baked and cooked and decorated for a backyard wedding reception for over 350 people, all with a house full of relatives from the Midwest. And I don't know how these ladies did it. Both of our fathers lent untold support, and so many more acts of kindness and generosity were heaped upon our heads that we simply would not have gotten to where we are today with all that they had done for us back in the beginning. And through the years, there's no such thing as saying thank you too many times to our support network. So Wes and I say thank you to all of you who've been our support. Many years of nightly family conversations around our dinner table at home. Our children got to hear Wes talk about happenings at the crime lab and how much he enjoys working with all of you. Wes has so enjoyed you personally and pursuing justice together, brainstorming, taking on projects, surmounting obstacles, helping work towards making this city a safe place for people and families to live and grow. Thank you to all of you and all your roles. You each have become very dear to Wes. And if you are dear to Wes, you are dear to me. I'm the lucky one to have known you through him. And lastly, I want to thank Wes. Thank you for your hard work and diligence. Thank you for doing the daily balancing act between work and home. It has been a joy to watch every step of the way. I look forward to more of the unfolding narrative of your life. I will close with a quote I love from our pastor, Tim Clark. If you are still breathing, God has a purpose for you. So let's all keep breathing. Thank you.
You know, you can tell a lot about a person by what those people who are closest to them say about them. And so that's remarkable to hear you say those words. Please give her a hand.
Yes.
Our count now goes to 0. There is 0 in my countdown. And 0 in our countdown is not 0 in our hearts. It's 0 as in no one like him. He is a person all by himself. One thing I can tell you about Wes Grose is that no matter where you are, what you feel about him, he lives transparently, he brings his heart to the table, and he shows up time and time again. Please help me welcome Wes Grose to the podium.
So I have no words to say today, but I will make it short. I was thinking this past weeks coming up to this. There's been so much going on. I haven't actually sat down and written a speech, but I have some things that I did want to share. And part of it came from our pastor. He had a series he's been talking about called "How Did I Get Here?" And I thought about that. You know, really, you start out. Julie and I started out years ago with a hope of getting in forensic science and hoping to make that a career. And you don't know. You start out, but it's really interesting. Even before I sought out forensic science, I was in college. I was 2 years through college, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had so many interests. I thought about being an architect or going to dental school or being a chiropractor. I had so many things. It was just really hard. So one time I was with my mom, and I told my mom, I'm going to go register, but I think I'll just stay. I was at Pierce College at this point. I think I'll stay there like another year because I'm just not sure what to do. I need to have time to make a decision. Well, my dad happened to be walking by. My dad goes, no, we're not going to do that. So I went and registered. In the meantime, he had done some teaching at USC and UCLA and George Washington University. And so while I was gone, he took the pleasure of looking at about 5 different graduate programs he thought met my aptitudes and that I would do well at. So he had this whole plan. So I get home from registering, and he says, sit down. He says, we're going to decide today what you're going to do. My dad's very confident. But yeah, it was kind of amazing. But what he said to me, he says, let's pray. So he says, God, Wes needs direction. He needs to know today what to do. And it's like, okay, again, that was wonderful prayer, but I still didn't know how I'm going to decide today. So we looked through some different graduate programs, and one that really jumped out at me was forensic science. And I never even heard of that before, but there was a master's degree in forensic science. And so out of that, I had to choose a undergraduate program, and you could get there with chemistry or biology. I chose biology. I felt like that was more along my interest. And so I started down that path, and never turned back. That's really captured my heart, and it's been really a wonderful adventure. And I think it's still going to be part of my future. I don't know how that's all going to go, but it's really been an amazing trip. But I realized during that time, part of what happens is that people choose you for things, and you have to, it's not just what you can do, it's that people give you an opportunity to do something. And so I was, even chosen to be into the graduate program. You have to apply and all that, and I was accepted in there. I did an internship with the Secret Service, and during that time with the internship, I got to meet Barbara. But the only reason that happened, I failed my comprehensive exam for my master's degree. And so, I mean, people said very nice things. I got to show you some of the words too. But so out of that, I had to stay an extra semester at graduate school, and I got that internship. And then on that, I got to go see someone testify out here in LA, and I met Barbara because of that. So it was amazing how that worked out, and Barbara chose me to come work with her, and that was a gift to me. Not something I deserved or I earned, but I had that opportunity. And then I went down the path, and like she said, I wanted to go back to work with Secret Service, but there was a hiring freeze at that time, and I didn't get to go. So I got then the opportunity to work in operations with Harley, like she mentioned, and there was other people they could have chosen, but they chose me. I had an opportunity. I didn't deserve it again, but it was really an honor to work with them and get to know people and see how they work and see their characteristics. And so it was really a great opportunity there, and then getting promoted and all the way up to having a chance to be director. It was there were 16 people who applied. I knew 15 people would get a no, and that went through. So it's not like you have great odds of doing that, but I was chosen. And when I got to meet with the sheriff, that was almost exactly 7 years ago. This Friday will be 7 years to the day that the sheriff met with me. So Dean had confidence in me and the sheriff, and they offered me the job to be director. And it's just one of those things where you just go, it could have been so many other people, but I'll do what I can. I told the sheriff I can't be Dean because Dean's amazing, and he says I want you, so that's good. And so but through this whole time, it's a wonderful, wonderful career, a lot of good things. But I often feel like my family's had the worst of me because, you get home at the end of the day, work 10-hour days, get up really early. My family are all night birds, so they're up, and I want to be with them too. So then you go to bed at 12 or 12:30 and get up at 4:30 or 5 and go to work, and it just kicks your butt. So what I tell people at this point is when I leave, tomorrow's my last day. I'm not going to be retired. I'm going to be not tired. That's my goal. And so I do want to leave a challenge for you, because I thought of all those who are staying on forensic sciences that each one of you have been chosen for positions, and you are in the positions you are. And if you give yourself the opportunity to rise to a different level, to have different responsibilities, take those opportunities and serve the lab well and serve the community. And really continue to see how we can get better, because a gym I used to go to, they all wore T-shirts that said there's no such thing as staying the same. You're either working to get better or allowing yourself to get worse. So keep working to get better. And then at this point, there's a challenge in the justice system. There's a lot of discontent across the country. So I'm going to encourage you to restore hope in the justice system through excellence in forensic science. So you guys can do that part. You can play that part. We're not advocates for prosecution or defense. We're there to tell the truth as we can see it through the evidence we examine. So continue to do that. Do an excellent job. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be director. I know that wasn't each of your decision, but thank you for working with me. It's been a great time. We have a good future. I know a lot of people are leaving right now, but there's a lot of people, there's a lot of you in this room who are going to continue to take that and run with it. And we're going to have a continued great lab going here. I will come back if you want to invite me to Christmas parties and stuff. I'd be happy. I'm not that far away. People said, "Do we go to lunch?" Yeah, I'll go to lunch. I hopefully have a little more time, even being retired, than I have on the job to go to lunch. But I really appreciate all you being here today. It means a lot to me, and I appreciate each and every one of you. And God bless you all. So thank you.
One more time for Wes Grose. Well, we're done. I trust that we have accomplished exactly what we set out to do. We walk away knowing a little bit more about this man, Wes Grose, and about what makes him tick, and about the people who love him and the people he has supported through the years. We're done with the program portion, but feel free to walk up, take pictures, say hello. And if anyone wants to say anything from the floor, now is your time. All right. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Wes, congratulations on your retirement, man. Great job. Thanks for everything you've done for us. You're early, man.
I'll be available. I don't know if you met my wife this
Hi, Joey. I'm Fred. How are you? One of Wes's many fans.
Thank you for your work.
All right. Well, thank you, guys.
Okay, yeah, that's great.
It's okay.